Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Faces of the Jewellery Quarter, and it's a slightly different one this week because we're not at a retailer's or a hotel or anything like that. We're actually with Jazz at LV Property, the estate and letting agents of the Jewellery Quarter. How are you doing, Jazz?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, and the reason why we're here today is because the area has changed, you might have noticed, over the last decade. Into more of a sort of a residential place rather than just kind of a workplace for all the local jewellers and factories and what have you, and the place has changed massively. And you guys have been based here since
2012, so
2012. So a fair amount of time. You've probably been just before when it all kind of kicked off with kind of developments and that kind of thing. What have you seen in that period that's kind of changed?
Yeah, Dan, well, we came in when the market here was very quiet. It was almost industrial. It was quite, there was that, very quiet, a lot of empty buildings, a lot of warehouses. So when we got here, I remember people questioning, what are you doing in this location? We don't want to rent. I mean, some of the things we used to hear, is it safe to rent here? Is it okay? It's a bit dark, the streets are quiet. So very quiet back then. We moved into the area, and the area started picking up. We always believed in it. We had a passion for the JQ. It had a lot of untapped potential. It
is easy to forget what it was like. I mean, it's always been an historical place, and obviously the sort of the centre of the UK's jewellery industry. And there's always been sort of potential there. But as you say, it was quite. It was nothing like it is today. Since then, we've had like the Golden Square put in. So it used to be a big car park, so obviously for workers, and that's been changed into more of a public area. So there's been a lot of emphasis put into for people to actually live here on a daily basis. And I mean, what would you say in terms of bringing people to the area to actually live here and let here and buy properties here? What has been the biggest draw in that time, do you think?
Gosh, okay, I think there's been a number of drawings in terms of what's drawing people in. I think a lot of new little bars, restaurants, these boutique places popping up all the time. People really like the square, the St. Paul Square is such a beautiful place. I think I heard somewhere, you mentioned earlier as well, the best place for top 20 for picnics.
In the UK, it's a top urban picnic place, I've read somewhere. So I don't dispute it. It's a pretty impressive place.
It's behind me, there it is. So I've got a little snapshot of it there. But I think that's a part of it. I think people feel there's a community here. It's close to the city, massive thing. So a lot of people working in the city, literally a stone throw away. They walk into town, they walk into the city, but it doesn't feel like the city centre. So you haven't got the noise, but instead you've got a community feel here. Then you've got the character, the charm. So you've got a lot of young professionals, architects, marketeers, business owners, all moving in, entrepreneurs. So it's really become a central hub for kind of creativity, and I think that's really nice. So you can see that in the bars and the type of individuals that go out here on the weekends and network, that socialise. So
yeah, it's interesting you touched on the point. It is so close to the city centre, and yet it is kind of completely different. I mean, you could maybe try and draw comparisons with other places in Birmingham, sort of Harbour, Moseley, all these kind of places. But the Jewellery Quarter really is sort of in walking distance. And has obviously the heritage of obviously the jewellery industry. I think they've got 200 listed buildings in the area and all the rest of it. So I suppose there is also a concern that obviously you've got to protect its heritage as well as improve the area in terms of places to go, things to do, and increase the population at the same time. I mean, regarding the developments, I mean, there's lots of different types of developments. Are there any certain developments that you like the look of and keep the kind of ethos of the area?
Yeah, I think, look, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of developments. There's a lot of these bog standard places coming up. I'll say it out loud. Very standardy type. No parking, 1 beds, 2 beds. Basic square footage is shrinking every year, year on year. So what you have got is certain developers, Javelin Block, Stuart Holt, I think it is a fantastic job. These guys do a really good job. I think they keep the area alive. Well, not only do they keep the buildings alive, they give back to the community. That's amazing. So we really like what they do, and I think they are someone that's passionate, very skilled, and know the market extremely well. So these individuals,
it's interesting. I mean, they're taking sort of mostly derelict factories that have been there for some time, but still have enormous character, and they're turning into some very special, unique places to live and work. It would be nice if they could do that on the kind of the volume of the bigger developments and making 1,000 apartments look that way, but
it's not cost effective, I imagine. No. You know, and also it's more boutique. You know, they bring in these buildings that have been left empty for years, not that big. You know, just you getting probably 8 or 9, so hence why they're quite boutique in their own right. And they're really bringing these buildings to life, but they're doing quite a few of them. You see them popping up everywhere around the Jewellery Quarter, and they're being renovated. So you know, we like what they do. It's really good.
And obviously with the influx of people to live here and to work here, it's still not massively busy on the weekends. It's not like you go down Broad Street and it's, you know, people falling out the bars and all the rest of it. It's still got a nice sort of quiet, relaxed feel to it. And also there's various kind of organisations that are working quite hard to keep things as it should be. So you've got the JQ Bid, you've got the Jewellery Quarter Neighbourhood Forum, all these kind of people, which is useful to making sure the place is still clean, to make sure you won't probably get late night clubs here because obviously that'll upset the residents and all the rest of it. So I think everybody is trying to make sure that the Jewellery Quarter is kept as much as it can be as it should be, really, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think, look, you've got you know, a lot of developers wanting to come in and basically cash in on the potential of the area, but the heritage has got the job on their hands to make sure that they allow you know, certain applications and certain they pull back, but keeping control just to keep the Jewellery Quarter alive. I think that's really important. You know, for us, we're passionate about the area as a whole. You know, yes, we like the development side, but we like the boutique development side because we think you need to keep what the Jewellery Quarter is, you know, which is a heritage. So you know, you've got these old companies still around as well. Across the road, Toy Kenning. Gosh, you know,
I think Prince Charles visited one of the royal family visited there recently. So,
they did, She's an advocate for the fashion. She's a fashion ambassador, I think, something along those lines. I think Princess Camilla was it or something. I'm not sure.
Really? I think the royals actually visit this area.
They have been there a few times.
A bit, yeah.
You see them out the window.
And just if people didn't realise where LV was, you're on Wallstone Lane, nearly opposite the Red Line. Most people know the Red Line. Yes. And it is clear to see that you do have a passion for the area. You're not like every estate agent, obviously with your branding and also the kind of imagery that you have around your office place. Your social media is obviously very driven towards the area itself. I also noticed that you're an award winner and you've got probably the highest rating in Google or something for the local area in terms of estate agents and all the rest of it.
That's right.
I mean, what would you put that down to?
Yeah, good question. I think simply, you know, you probably know what I'm going to say, service. You know, something that we've always tried to keep high. We worked really hard at, and I think it's listening to what our clients want and keeping those basics you know, tied down and doing those really well, even with the noise of the market and Brexit and everything else that's going on. I think what we can control is the service we deliver on and knowing our clients and knowing their expectations. So our teams are driven, you know, they're trained on service to make sure that they keep performing on that time and time again, and we don't change that. So that shows on our reviews. You're right, you know, with the highest rated on Google in the Jewellery Quarter.
That takes something. I know how hard it is to get Google reviews, so fair play to you. And the kind of people you deal with, it literally ranges from students looking to rent to developers looking to invest, is it? I mean...
We across the board we deal with a lot of mature students. Probably, I say a lot, probably 5 to 10%, but 90% of our business is corporate clients. So these are corporate businesses as well. Individuals that are professional, moving into the city from London, other areas. So I'd probably say it's a mix of 90% professional, 10% mature students.
Yeah. And I know, obviously, touching on again on the interest and the passion that you have for the Jewellery Quarter, I know you've got quite a bit of content on your website, just a sort of guide for people looking to move here and live here. So obviously the transport, we've got, you know, train station, metro, places to go out, green areas and all the rest of it. Useful information that you'll probably need to know if you're thinking about living here full time. And obviously I hope the more the better that come to live here. So I know, Jazz, you'll be working on content in the foreseeable future, putting it out there to try and help those people that are already living here or looking to live here and to making their life a little bit easier. So I look forward to seeing that. And Jazz, I appreciate your time today. It's always good to see you.
Thank you, Dan.
And we'll be in touch, no doubt.
Yes.
So have a look at Jazz's social media, the website. It's all on screen now. And obviously get in touch with Jazz if you need any kind of help and advice on properties in the area. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.